Norman. Emerging after the conquest of 1066, Norman domestic buildings used thick stone walls and small, round-arched openings, a nod to Romanesque forms seen in castles and churches. Most ordinary dwellings remained timber or wattle and daub, so purely Norman secular houses are rare. Wealthier manors might show defensive layouts or keep-like towers, blending fortress elements with rudimentary living quarters. These features are mostly visible in fragments of older fortified manors and farmhouses, rather than complete Norman homes. Early medieval. As feudal life settled, stone houses with limited defensive traits appeared alongside simpler timber cottages. Roofs were typically steep and often thatched, while windows stayed small for warmth and security. Some gentry houses mixed Norman arcs or pillars with local building methods, bridging pure military design and more comfortable domestic needs. Interiors were still dominated by a single hall space, but rooms became more defined to accommodate changing social structures. Timber framed. Carpentry innovations let half-timbering spread throughout England. Exposed beams formed intricate patterns, infilled with wattle and daub. Upper floors could jetty outward. Roofs were steep, frequently thatched or covered with wooden shingles. Grand halls with open rafters typified larger homes, though smaller cottages stuck to simpler layouts. This black and white construction set the stage for later Tudor refinement. Tudor. Tudor half-timbering perfected the black and white style, with tall brick chimneys, overhanging upper stories, and diamond pane-leaded windows. As the Middle Ages ended, builders prioritized comfort over defense, so each major room had its own fireplace. Bricks became more common, although timber frames remained iconic. Whether seen in rural cottages or urban dwellings, Tudor architecture laid a lasting cultural imprint, often emulated in future revivals. Elizabethan. Under Elizabeth I, houses grew bolder with larger windows, decorative gables, and more formal exteriors in wealthy estates. Brick or stone might replace timber in prominent homes, although smaller dwellings still used half-timbering. Facades could be symmetrical, hinting at classical influences creeping in. Interiors emphasized carved wood paneling, ornate plaster ceilings, and sometimes a long gallery for display, foreshadowing the shift from fortress living to showy comfort. Jacobean. Continuing Elizabethan trends, Jacobean houses had robust brick or stone shells, tall chimneys, and additional classical details, such as pilasters or pediments on doorways. Window bays grew more elaborate, occasionally forming oriel windows. Wealthy estates boasted symmetrical fronts and formal gardens, bridging late medieval architecture and the classical order that would soon flourish in the Georgian era. Carolean. Under Charles I, high-status homes refined the Jacobean look, but retained heavier forms compared to future styles. Brick facades and classicizing elements, like segmental arches over windows, became more familiar. Interiors might have improved plaster decorations or paneling, yet widespread unrest slowed grand domestic projects. Rural gentry often stuck to older styles, making Carolean rarer and more transitional. Restoration. After Cromwell's Commonwealth, Charles II's Restoration re-embraced decorative flair. The Great Fire of London forced new building regulations mandating brick in urban centers, shaping row houses with simpler pitched roofs and larger window openings. Some doorways featured round arches or pilasters, hinting at classical influences. These developments set the stage for the balanced elegance of the upcoming Georgian period. Georgian. Synonymous with symmetry and proportion, Georgian homes showcased orderly sash windows arranged in neat grids, brick or stone facades, and elegant door cases, often with fan lights. Terraced rows in Bath or London squares became iconic, reflecting Enlightenment ideals of rational design. Interiors had high ceilings, decorative cornices, and a central hallway plan. Georgian architecture remains a defining image of English domestic refinement. Regency. A lighter evolution of late Georgian, Regency favored pastel or white stucco, iron balconies, and bow windows. Architects like John Nash shaped London's West End with curved terraces, slender columns, and airy facades. Interiors stayed symmetrical, but sported more delicate ornament, forging a fresh elegance. Areas like Brighton or Cheltenham exemplify the breezy look of Regency row houses and crescents. Victorian. The Industrial Revolution powered mass building, generating vast terraced housing in cities. Machine-made bricks, decorative cast iron, and bay windows characterized these quick builds, while substyles added variety. Rows of worker cottages contrasted with lavish villas, yet all shared high roof lines, intricate barge boards, or ornamental brick details. From London to Manchester, these ubiquitous terraces remain a core of urban housing stock. Arts and crafts. Reacting against Victorian industrialization, arts and crafts architects led by William Morris emphasized handcrafted details, local stone, and simpler forms. Facades looked rustic or cottage-like, often with low-slung roofs, tile cladding, and minimal decoration. Interiors are beyond our scope, but the movement's honest materials and craftsmanship shaped later suburban ideals and the cottage vibe many still admire. Edwardian. Under Edward VII, domestic designs grew airier and less cluttered than Victorian. Red brick, lighter wood trims, and bigger windows signaled a friendlier approach. Many semis or short terraces popped up in new commuter zones, each with a front and back garden. Roof lines could incorporate modest gables or dormers, balancing practicality and mild ornamentation. Garden City. Reformers like Ebenezer Howard aimed to merge town and countryside. Planners laid out low-rise homes among greenbelts, drawing on arts and crafts aesthetics. Facades often featured cottage styling, wide eaves, and local stone or brick. This method relieved urban overcrowding by spacing houses with gardens and communal greenery, shaping places like Letchworth and Welwyn. Tudor Revival. Nostalgia for medieval and Tudor aesthetics led to decorative half-timbering, steep gables, and mock black and white exteriors, though actual frames were usually modern. Facade timbers often masked brick or block walls. Middle-class suburban developments borrowed these details to conjure Old England charm, even with modern layouts behind the facade. Interwar Suburbs. After World War I, suburban expansions delivered semis or detached homes along new roads and rail lines. Mock Tudor or cottage styles dominated exteriors, typically with small front gardens and driveways. These houses molded the suburban look, a cozy facade, pitched roofs, and leaded windows, still common throughout the commuter belts of English cities. Semi-detached. Semi-detached homes actually surfaced earlier, but truly soared in popularity between the wars and later. Two houses share one central wall, each with its own entrance, garden, and sometimes a side driveway. This arrangement balanced affordability and privacy, becoming a standard suburban format. Exterior styling varied from plain brick to mock Tudor or even post-war modernization. Art Deco. A smaller but distinct style, Deco houses used curved corners, smooth render, and sometimes sunburst or geometric motifs, reminiscent of ocean liners or modern industrial design. Flat or gently sloped roofs and metal-framed criddle windows furthered the futuristic vibe. Though overshadowed by the more popular Tudor Revival of the same period, these streamlined exteriors remain beloved curiosities in some interwar neighborhoods. Modernist. Influenced by Bauhaus and Le Corbusier, a few English homes embraced minimal ornament, functional geometry, and large steel-framed windows. Flat roofs or shallow pitches signaled a rejection of historical pastiche. While not widespread, modernist builds stand out for their stark, boxy shapes and emphasis on open volumes. They remain rare but impactful in certain experimental developments or one-off commissions. New towns. World War II's devastation led to massive rebuilding efforts, with the government creating standard house plans or tower blocks. Exteriors were often plain brick or concrete, aiming for rapid, affordable construction. Areas like Milton Keynes introduced planned layouts, mixing suburban sprawl with pedestrian zones, albeit with mixed aesthetic results. Practical utility reigned over stylistic ornament. Brutalist. Some large housing estates took a brutalist approach, showcasing raw concrete, bold geometric massing, and fortress-like silhouettes. High-rise blocks like London's Barbican exemplified the monumental scale of brutalist thinking. Critics found the heavy concrete oppressive, while admirers praised the striking sculptural form. Few single-family homes adopted true brutalism, but estate developments used it for urban renewal. Postmodern. Responding to modernism's starkness, postmodern houses revived playful historical references. Arches, columns, bright color panels, in whimsical or ironic ways. Suburban builders sometimes put mock classical porches on otherwise simple structures, creating lively but sometimes jarring facades. Opinions diverged. Was it a creative fresh start or shallow nostalgia? Neo-Revival. Modern developers harnessed buyer nostalgia for traditional English designs. Mock Tudor exteriors featured half-timber gables, while Neo-Georgian might add symmetrical brick facades with small-pane sash windows. Behind these historicized fronts, houses had modern insulation, open layouts, and ensuite bedrooms, fueling debates about authenticity versus convenience. Nonetheless, these remain popular in commuter estates. Contemporary sustainable. Rising environmental awareness and advanced engineering enabled low-impact or zero-carbon homes with solar panels, high insulation, and modern silhouettes. Some opt for dramatic angles or green roofs, others discreetly blend with older neighborhoods. Large glass areas harness daylight, while exteriors highlight eco-friendly materials like timber cladding or rammed earth. This forward-looking approach points the way for the next era of English house design. Thanks for watching this video. What English house styles did I miss? Let me know in the comments. Also be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. It means a lot.